Yes, I'm live now. Hey, what's up? This is Josh Shamoun, and this live presentation, I'm gonna go over some of the Linux commands that you can use if you are a network engineer or a network technician. You're into networking computers or equipment that have IP addresses, host names, and connected to DNS switches, routers, etc. And there are some commands that you can use. Some of these commands you can use in Linux and Windows and most computers, but these are the ones I run on Linux. So I'm not going to say they only run on Linux. They might run on Windows and other machines. But because I'm using Linux, I try those commands on my Linux desktop machine, the desktop edition. So those commands are, there are a lot of commands you can run on Linux for networking and other specific topics. But the ones I have here, I want to talk about. There are eight commands. I don't know if you can see them. I can read them off for you. I just wrote them down now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8. Those came to my mind now. I'm sure there are a lot of them, but these are basic and they can help you a lot. So the first one is the ping command. The ping command. So what does that ping command do? The ping command basically you can ping a host on a network, and if it's configured to reply, it's gonna reply, and this way it's connected to the network. And if it's not configured to reply, it's not gonna work out for you. But let's assume it's configured to reply, and the so you ping it. The way you do it is ping, and then you add the IP address. Once you ping and with the IP address, then you get a reply. If you get a reply, it means it's connected to the network. If it's not connected, you might get unreachable. That's what's gonna happen. Love, hi, welcome to the live stream, guys. Welcome. If you're here on this live stream, let me know if you have any questions. I'm talking about Linux commands for network engineers and technicians. So these are, I have 8 commands I'm gonna discuss. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you are a computer professional in the IT department of your company, or you work on your own, you have a company related to networking, or you are a network engineer, telecom engineer, this will help you. Those, you might know them, you might know some of them, but they will be, if you know them, they will be a refresher for you. If not, they'll be very helpful for you. So because they're very useful, and you can use them for so many situations, so many diagnostic situations. So let me see it. So the first I said, it's the ping command. Okay, went over. So basically, ping is for connectivity. You test if your host, the host, it means it's a node on a network. It can be a computer, a managed switch, or a router. So this is you test for connectivity. Now, the second one is traceroute. Traceroute is a command you use for diagnostic of your path. Let's say you're trying to reach a host on a network and you're not able to reach it. So what you do to find out if there is a complete path to get to it or not, what you do, you type the trace route, and then you add the IP address or the name of the host name, and then the system will show you a route like through the IP addresses, how many IPs they call them hop, or how many switches uh, before you get to your destination. And if one of the switches is disconnected, then it will tell you. You can tell how far you got on a network through the path, because when you ping a network, a host name on a network, you're not directly connected to it. You can go through different switches or routers on a network, so, or nodes they call them. the the third one is NS lookup. Okay, NS lookup, it finds for you the DNS name, domain name servers. Uh, it tells you what domain name server this host is using. And every host on a network, whether local network or wide area network or on the internet, the IP address is translated through a DNS server, which translates the IP address to names. Because we as a human being, we don't understand uh, numbers. We cannot remember numbers. It's just like the IP address. That's why they give them names. But those names are translated into IP address, like the domain name. Let's say abc.com. abc.com, the computer doesn't understand those words. We, us, as a human being, understand them. The computer understand the numbers, the IP address, and the numbers. And the DNS translate the IP address to numbers and numbers to IP addresses. I mean the IP address, the number to the domain name, like the URL, and from domain name to the IP addresses, and then the IP address is translated to zeros and ones, and then to machine language. Uh, the fourth one, uh, let me go over number six before then I'll go over the last ones. Let's see. This is four. And this is five, six. Okay, number four is the speed test. Speed test is a command that you can run, and it can run, I think, on other computers, not only the Linux. You can use it to test your internet connectivity. So let's say you're connected to the internet, and you want to see what your service provider is giving you, what kind of speed. Now, it's not going to be exact every time. It goes up and down. And what they give you, sometimes they tell you your internet connection is 1 gig or 500 meg, and then you do the speed test. This way, you know exactly what's your internet speed, the bandwidth, and you use the speed test, and just the speed test, and you hit enter. And once you hit enter, the system, if it's connected on the internet, it's gonna connect to a speed test server in your internet service provider, and then it's gonna ping another server, and then it will give you the upload and the download speed. Actually, the bandwidth, it's not the speed, it's the bandwidth. They call them speed, but it's the bandwidth. Like it will give you, let's say, the download bandwidth and the upload bandwidth. So, okay, now we can go over some of the IP address commands. These are very important, the IP address commands. So, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I have four commands for the IP address. The first one, the first IP address is the IP calc, IPC LC, and then you type the IP address after it, and then it will give you a list of details about the IP address. It will give you the network address. It will give you the how many hosts you can make out of the your network address, your IP address, and then it will give you how many usable IP address are, So this is very important. So basically, you type ipcalc, ipcalc, then space, you type the IP address, like let's say 12.13.4.18 slash, which is the CIDR, slash uh, 30 or slash 18, let's say, and you hit enter, and then the system will give you the details about the network address, about the usable addresses, the first address, the last address, the network address, the broadcast address. This is very important because you can learn a lot about IP address and how to calculate them, but sometimes I forget, and it's not that simple and easy. So it's good to have those commands where they decipher the IP address and then give you the details about it. So another one is the SIP calc, just like the one before, but you add S to it. Calc. SIP calc. It means it's gonna do the subnetting. It's gonna give you the subnetting for the address. So if you type SIP calc and then you type an IP address dash let's say dash 32 or 30, it will give you details again, similar to the one before, the one I used, ipcal, and and it will give you a lot of details, like again, the network address, the usable address, first and last, the broadcast address, network address. So okay, two more. So I went over six so far. I went over six commands. Now we can go over the last two. So the last two commands, just see something here. Okay. The last two commands, IP. Okay, this one will give you details about your machine, about the IP address of your computer. If your network, let's say you have a computer connected to the internet. Nowadays, you can see in your computer IPv4 and IPv6, those IP addresses, the short one, the IPv4, the traditional one. Then you have the IPv6, the long ones, the one that can create a lot of IP addresses. So if you want to know the IPv4, what you do, you type IP address, but between the IP and the address, you type dash four. Once you type dash four, it means the computer will generate the IP address v4 version 4. So and then you have the IPv6. If you want to know what's the IPv6 of your machine, you just type IP space dash six. This is the option, and then the address, and it will give you the IPv6 address of your machine. So guys, I want to thank you so much for being on this live stream. If you have any questions, let me know. Submit your question in the comment box now. So again, I went over 8 commands used related to networking. If you are a network engineer or a network technician, these can help you for troubleshooting and finding information about the network and your computer when it's connected to the network or the internet. So, and I went through the 8, and the first one was the ping. I went over the trace route, the NS lookup. I went over speed test. I went over IP calc, SIP calc. Then I went over the IP dash 4 address, and then IP-6 address. So if you have any questions, let me know, guys. I want to thank you so much for joining this live stream. Let me know if you have any question about what I discussed. I'm talking about Linux commands for not networking professionals like network engineers, network technicians. You can use those commands for diagnostics, for finding out information about your network machine, about the IP addresses. So if you have any questions, let me know, and submit your questions or topics. Like, what topics are you interested in? Let me know. So, so Ms. M, are you staying warm? Yes, I'm trying to. I am indoors. Yes, it's very cold outside. Yeah. So, guys, make sure you ask me questions about the commands I went over. So, and also submit any topics you wanted to discuss, as long as it's related to software and software as a service. If it is within the topics I have on my channel, check out my channel and you'll know what I cover. I cover so many topics. I talk about HTML5, CSS3. I talk about domain names, web hosting, making websites. I talk about Inkscape for making vector graphics. So I talk about different topics related to software and software as a service. So if you're interested to learn about these, let me know and submit your questions and the topics in the chat box. And I can answer you. I'm live now. I'm coming to you live from the US state of South Dakota. My name is George Shamoun, and I'm here to help you and grow my channel at the same time. I wanna urge you to subscribe if you're interested in these kinds of topics, and also submit any questions or comments or topics you want me to discuss in the future related to software and the software as a service. Also, I talk about, like I said, HTML5, CSS3, and some JavaScript. So let me know. Ms. M. George, what is your ethnicity? I am from the Middle East. I'm Arabic. I'm originally from Lebanon, but I live in the US. So I'm coming to you live from the US now, in the US state of South Dakota in the Midwest. But I am originally from Lebanon. I speak Arabic. So where are you tuning in from, Ms. M? Are you in the US or overseas? Who else? Questions, comments? Anybody have a question or any? Yeah, let me know if you're interested in those software, the ones I discuss on my channel, or I also talk about website builders, about web hosting. Uh, I cover different topics on the Ms. US. Okay, sure, yep, yep. So yeah, let me know if you have any question. Are you one of my subscribers? If not, make sure you subscribe, the Ms. Also, love, hi. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I need your help in growing the channel. And in return, I'll make more videos like these, and I cover those topics about software and software as a service. And I will help you. Like, I answer questions live on this live stream. You can get the answers right away if the topic I'm familiar with. If I'm not familiar with the topics or your question, then I'm gonna have to let you know, and then I'll refer you maybe to other resources. Yeah, and we talk about Inkscape to make vector graphics and export them to PNG. This is how I make my YouTube thumbnails. So yeah. Who else? Questions, comments? Anyone have a question or any topics you want me to talk about? If I am familiar with it, if not, then and If you want to know what you can ask me, check out my channel and see what topics I cover. I can tell you now. I cover Linux commands, how to use Linux commands, and uh, and things related to Linux, how to use the Linux commands and Linux graphical user interface, how to use Visual Studio Code to create codes and edit web pages. Like I've been using it to make HTML5 and CSS3, and you can use it for JavaScript too. You can even install Node.js, and Visual Studio Code has an integrated terminal. You can type commands in it. So also I talk about video editing, but not much video editing. I'm not good in video editing. I have to learn it more. But I know how to do trimming and cutting a clip, just the basic ones. But I'm not focusing on it because it takes time. I might want to hire somebody in the future because it takes so much time if you want to edit a video, and I'm finding those live much easier than making editing the video. So anyone else questions, comments? Yeah, if you're on this live stream, I want to thank you so much for joining. I do appreciate your presence and your attention. It's very important to me, and every single one of you means a lot and is very important. So this is why my even though my channel is small, I'll be making those live videos, and sometimes just one person or two are watching my videos, and I still enjoy it, and I still like to answer questions and make those presentations. This is why take advantage of the time I'm here and you're here, and ask me questions. And if you're having hard time making a website using certain software that I went over, let me know. So yeah, I mean, I never asked. Are you guys in the technology field? What field are you in? Are you in a e-commerce? Are you in a software engineering, telecom, networking? Are you what field are you in? What kind of work do you do? Do you go to school? If you go to school, what are you studying? So maybe we can learn from each other. It's not I cannot be sitting here and talking, and I don't have any reply, or nobody is asking questions. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So make sure. Who else? Oh, you know what? Let me just lay, relax here, sit back, and yeah. Okay. I mean, now I'm here. I made my presentation. If somebody have a question, I can answer. And I went over the 8 commands. If somebody is interested to learn about them, how to use Linux, and in this video, I discussed 8 commands. They're related to networking. I have them here. Networking and IP address. So I went over the ping, the trace route, NS lookup, IP calc, SIP calc, speed test, IP dash 4 address, IP space dash 6 address. So these are 8 commands. They're very useful and important to use if you're using Linux, and maybe they work on other systems like Windows and Mac. And if you're into the computer and networking field, even you don't have to be in a computer field. You can be. Oh, there's a question here. Okay, welcome, G. I can't even read the name. GEE. Okay, I'm just starting back into white hat, trying to learn what I can with networking. Okay. Yes, so into white hat. I'm not sure what you mean by white hack. You mean ethical hacking, penetration testing, that's what you mean? Yeah, so if you want to learn about networking, uh, so using commands like if you have Linux, yes, if you have Linux installed, I'm not sure what kind of computer you are using. You can be using Windows, you can be using Mac. They all have terminal, but my favorite is Linux. If you want to learn if you want to get into networking, software development, Kali Linux. This is good for, I think that's for penetration testing, right? Kali Linux. I never tried it, but I know it's for penetration testing. Yeah, it's got so many tools for security and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm not sure, uh, G, I'm not sure how much you know when it comes to Linux commands, but I went over eight commands. I can go over them again if you want me to. These are very important and they're very basic and essential to know. I mean, you can learn more, but those are very essential. So let me read them for you again. So, eight commands. The first one is the ping command. Do you understand the ping command? This is a very easy one, the ping command. Yes, so I can write them down, please. Okay. So, the first one is a ping command. The ping command. Okay, let me go over them. You write them down, then I explain each one. The first one is ping, Ping. The second one is a trace route. Trace route, it's Traceroute, trace route. And the third one is NS lookup, NS lookup. Uh, the fifth one is IPCalc, IPCalc. The sixth one is the fourth one, I think. SIPCalc, SIPCalc. I will explain what they mean. And then you have the speed test, speed, SPEED test. And then you have the IP space dash 4 address. And then the last one is IP space dash 6 address. Okay, so I hope you were able to write them down. So if you, which one you want to know about? I mean, you might be familiar with some of them, so there is no need for me to explain them. But if there is one you want or more you want me to explain, let me know which one you want me to explain or you want me to talk about, because you might be familiar with those if you're running Kali Linux. So I'm sure you know a lot of commands, you know. So yeah, so let me know if okay, 3, 4, 5. I don't know these at all. Okay, what is the three? Is it the NS lookup? NS lookup, right? Okay, so the NS lookup, when you type NS lookup, yes, NS lookup. Okay, so when you type NS lookup space, then you enter the IP address or the domain name of a host. It's gonna give you the DNS server. The DNS server are the domain name systems or domain name servers. Those translate which are used for that specific IP address or host to translate IP addresses to name domain names. Like let's say you have a website abc.com. abc.com. This is a website, but the abc.com, it has an IP address related to it or associated with it. So that the translation between the IP address and the domain name abc.com, it's done by the DNS server. And to know what DNS server is that the host is using, you use the NS lookup. So basically, NS lookup like abc.com, and it's going to give you the DNS server that this company, this domain uses to translate names and numbers. So I hope I made sense to you. So the fourth one, what's the fourth one? Is it the IP calc or speed test? What's the fourth one? So I can explain it. Perfect. Okay. So what is the fourth one that you want me to explain? Okay. IP calc. Okay, you just add C at the end. Okay, IP calc. So the IP calc, uh, it's gonna give you details about an IP address. That's what it is. And you type ipcalc. Let's say you have an IP address, like each IP address, when it has like the slash, the cider they call them. Let's say you have IP address 10.4.6.7 slash 18, let's say, or 19. So this IP address, you plug it in when you type ipcalc, and you add this IP address, and you enter, and the terminal in Linux, it's gonna give you an output. It will show you it will explain in details the network address. It will give you the broadcast address. It will give you the all the host addresses generated for this IP slash such and such, and then it will give you what host names, numbers you can use are usable, because when you have a subnet uh, made of so many network, so many IP addresses, the first one is the network address and the last one is the broadcast address, and the one in between you can use them, they are usable for configuring hosts, So I hope that made sense to you. But you want to try them, though, to understand those commands. I mean, I'm explaining those now, but to better understand them, you have to try them on a terminal. So once you use them in your terminal, you'll enjoy how they look like, what they give you. You'll understand them more. So what's the fifth one? You still have one. The fifth command, which one you want me to explain? Number five. SIP calc. Okay. So yeah, make sure the first one you type the IP calc, and the second one SIP calc. Add C at the end for each one. You have to add C at the end. So I think even if you mistype a command in Linux terminal, I'm running Linux Ubuntu 22.04, and if I type one of those commands, it will correct me. That's why I like Ubuntu. It's much easier than other Linux distributions. It will give you a correction if you mistype a. So uh, the SIP calc, the SIP calc is used for. It's kind of similar to ipcalc, but it will show you the if you whenever you want to do a subnetting, when it comes to subnetting, like if you have an IP address and you want to subnet it, or you want to see what's the available address, it's got some similar output like the ipcalc, but it'll give you more. I think it's different format maybe. So for subnetting, basically, it will give you the if you type an IP address after the SIP calc, and you hit enter, it will give you a list of information, and also it will give you the network address, the broadcast address. It will give you the host addresses, and it will give you the usable address, because the first one, which is the network, you cannot use it to set up a computer, network computer, and you cannot use the broadcast. You can use everything in between. So basically, it will give you all the hosts, and then you subtract two, the first and the last, and that will be your usable hosts. So yeah, I hope that made sense to you. But you know, it may not be too clear, so don't worry about it if it wasn't clear, because those you have to understand those. If you want to understand them well, you want to type them on your terminal, and you want to see the output, and you want to change the input, and then you'll know exactly how they work. But explaining them verbally, it's gonna be difficult. But as long as you have them, you type them down, just try them on your terminal. And if you still have any issues, you can submit a question here or comments or anything. I can look at it later. So anyone else? Any other questions? I hope I was able to explain to you those three commands. If you still have any questions, let me know while I'm here on this live stream now. So yeah, who else? Anybody else have a question? Yeah, guys, make sure if you're interested in those topics, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You did great. I'll be practicing more the commands like you said. Yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah. This is the only way to learn. It does not matter how many books you read, how many video you watch, how many times you listen to somebody explaining. The best way to learn them is to use all of those methods. But number one, using those methods to use them yourself, to practice them on your terminal, then you'll know they'll stick in your mind. Once you start trying them, and even if you forget them one day, they kind of come back fast because you understand how they work. So yep. Anybody else have a question? Thank you so much for joining this live stream. This is George Shimon. I'm coming to you live from the U.S. state of South Dakota. It's December 18th. It's 11:35 p.m. U.S. Standard Time, Central Standard Time. I don't even know if it's standard or not standard. I think it's standard. Yeah, the Central. So I'm coming to you live from the U.S. state of South Dakota. If you're on this live stream, thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so I can grow it. And the more I grow it, I'll make more videos, and I'll help you more. So yeah. Anyone else on this live? Anyone else need any explanation or any questions about Linux commands, the one I went over, or other commands? Let me know. Yeah, on this channel, I talk about software and software as a service, and I cover different topics. Let me show you what I cover here. This is my channel. So let's see. This is my channel. Okay, so this is my channel here. If you can see it, it's web page coder. It's named the name. It's called it. And I cover videos. Let me see. I have some videos about JavaScript, not too many. There are many about HTML, CSS, 5, about web hosting, domain name. I have some videos about website builders, how to make a website using a website builder. Obviously, Linux commands, and yeah, I have many Linux, and then I have Visual Studio Code. So Yeah, this is, we see the playlist. So, yeah, anybody have a question or, yeah, and I talk a lot about Visual Studio Code, which is a code editor. Okay, okay, there's a question. This is off topic, but what are things as a beginner I should look into that you learned when you first started? Okay, so what are you trying to learn, like about Linux commands and networking? That's what you want to learn? Gee, if you're talking about the Linux commands, like you're doing now, you have Linux installed, you have Kali Linux. Just try the commands, Are you looking for a course like online course for networking for Linux commands? I have one if you want. I have an online course. I can add the link in a description if you want me to. If you're interested, I can like add the link in the description. You can check it out. See, I'm not sure if that's what you asking. Are you looking for? This course is a beginner's course. Yes, and VStudio. I'll be watching your video. Oh, okay. Yes, and VStudio. Yeah, add it. Love to watch it. Okay. Yes, add it. Okay. I have. Okay. There are so many videos on my YouTube channel. They're all for free, obviously. YouTube. But if you're interested in an online course just for Linux, using Linux commands, I have a course. I can add it in a chat box if you want to check it out. There is no need to register or buy it, and it's not that expensive. I think it's $49, but I can add the link if you want to see what I cover, what are the topics. And if you're interested in a course, online course, but I have lot of. Okay, you'll check it out. Okay, I'll add it now. Let me just see. Okay, so yeah, because you will learn a lot from this course. It's because it's what's covered instead of going all over the places on my YouTube and other channels. So let's see. So yeah, 1 second. Let me see. It's right here. 50. Okay, it's right here. Okay, so it's right here. I'm gonna add it here. Linux commands for beginners online course. Okay, this is the link. I added the link in the description. This link will take you to the course description page, so you can read about the course, what I'm covering, who is it for, and everything. And then at the end, there is a curriculum. Uh, Let me show you. Let me flip the screen. I will show you what it covers. I mean, so if you go to the link, you kind of get to this page, and you kind of see this banner here. Linux commands for programmers and web developers. and beginners too. It's a beginners course. So if you go down, let me see, you can read about it all the way down. And then once you get to the course curriculum, you can expand each one and it will show you what each lesson covers, you know. So this is good for, it's very basic. It's only $49, you know. And let me know if you're not able to afford it. Maybe I'll give you a discount, but let me know, you know, if you're interested first. So yeah, yep. So this is an online video course. So basically, you log in and you watch the videos and you apply on your terminal, and then you can ask me questions. You know, I'm here on YouTube, and even in a course, there's comments, and you can add comments. I get notifications, so I can help you too. You know, you're not. I'm not gonna leave you stranded on your own. You know, so I can help you with. So yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Questions? Comments? Topics you wanted to talk about, or this video we went over some of the Linux commands. Cache Bandit 417, welcome. Python or Linux for hacking? Python or Linux for hacking? Okay, so uh, I can talk about Linux more than Python because I started recently dabbling with the Python, you know, so I don't know much about it. I have a book here. I mean, I can run commands in a terminal, you know, uh, for Python, some of the commands, you know, I mean, I don't like basic programs, you know, like print, do that. I'm getting into it, you know, but now my focus is on HTML5, CSS3, and JavaScript. Those I'm focusing on those coding languages. But Linux, I can talk about Linux. Now, Linux for hacking. Um, I'm not into hacking, but what I do, I can talk about the Linux commands. If you want me, Linux, you have to be specific about what you want to do. You know, let's say if you tell me I want to ping a host, I can give you the command. If you want to talk about the file permission, I might be able to help you with that stuff like this, you know. And if you cache bandit 417, if you go to this course here where it says payhip.com, this is an online course for Linux commands. This is, you know, it's for me, you know. Okay, for cybersecurity, no illegal stuff. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, for cybersecurity. Okay, for cybersecurity, a lot of networking command you can use in cybersecurity, like the ones I went over now. You can use those in cybersecurity. You know, so let's say I have them here. Let's say ping. I mean, you can use ping in like Linux. The networking command they can be used in cybersecurity, you know. So like ping, traceroute, NS lookup, you can use those all the time, you know, because and ipcalc, sipcalc, you know, uh, IP4 address, IP. Check Cache Bandit 417. Check this course here, the PayHip. This is my course here, online course for Linux commands, and go all the way down and expand the curriculum. It will give you what's covered, and let me know if that's what you're looking for, or you're looking for something else, because you gotta tell me what you want to do with the command. You know, let's say you might tell me, oh, I want to find out what's the IP address of my computer, or you know, how do I do subnetting? How do I do this? So you have to be specific. Then we'll look for the command for you. You know. So yeah, but check this payhip.com such and such. This is my online course uh, for Linux commands. You know, see at the end what I cover, like the topics. There are chapters. There are topics. You can see what I covered. You know. Anybody else? Yes, cybersecurity is a field, is a wide field by itself. I am in a telecom industry. I am a telecom engineer, but I don't work on the cybersecurity side. I work on the design side, in the service provisioning and designing and giving service to the customer and documenting stuff and making designs. This is what I do. But cybersecurity, I don't work on cybersecurity, but it's a very important field for sure. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions or any comments or topics you wanted to discuss? And if the topic I can talk about, I will. If I can't talk about, I'm gonna have to let you know that I'm not familiar with it, and I will try to refer you to other resources. So yeah, see. For cybersecurity, what programs do you use for designing? Oh, we use proprietary programs, for the company. They're specific for the telecom industry. So you're not gonna find them like online. We use programs that companies they make them for telecom industry. Specific programs we use. And every time they change them. I've used so far so many programs for designing. But those programs you don't see um, prevalent among most people, because they're specific for the telecom industry. So you have to be in the telecom industry to use them and to be exposed to those programs. And there are a lot of them, lot of them. I mean, not a lot, not hundreds, few, but so anyone else have a question or topics you want to talk about, let me know. And I want to thank you so much, everyone, for joining. That's pretty cool. What do they feel like when using them? Are they hard to get into? Well, just like any other job, you have to get trained. If you don't have any experience, they start you from square one, you go up step by step. And the more you learn, the more you do. And yeah, it takes time to start, uh, accomplish certain design, certain service. It takes because you're putting a lot of pieces together. It's like a puzzle. You have to put equipment, you have to put facilities, transmissions. You have to add information about the customer, the speed. There are so many elements you have to add. So it takes time to learn. I've been doing this for almost 20 years in the telecom industry. That's why I'm familiar, I'm comfortable with it. But obviously, I'm specialized in certain things in a telecom. You can't know everything because it's a very wide field. Yeah, but everybody have to start somewhere. But experience will help and education will help. If you have a certificate in a telecom, it will help you a lot. It doesn't have to be years of certification. Sometimes you can take a 2-year certificate in a telecom, and with some training, you can get up and running. So, yeah. Anyone else have a question or topics you want me to discuss? We can talk about software and software as a service we use uh, on my channel here on YouTube. So, yeah. So what do you guys do? Anybody does website building? What industry are you in? Are you students or are you, what industry do you? What is it all about in the industry you work in? I am very curious. Oh, okay. So you're curious about telecom? Okay, I can give you an example. Uh, you got you got an internet home. I mean, you're connected to me now, so you're on the internet. Let's say you're on your home and you're using your computer. how do you use your computer? You're connected on the internet. How are you connected on the internet, and how far your signal or your travels? How far are your data traveling, and how they traveling? What do they traverse? What equipment? What lines? What transmission? We deal with that. We deal with this. So basically, let's say I'm not sure where you live and if you have what kind of internet service provider you have. What's the name? If you give me a name, I'll give you. I can explain better. If you give me like your internet service provider name. Let's say you are in the US and your internet service provider is level 3, let's say, or CenturyLink. You know. So let's say you're living in New York City, right? And you called the company, you said, I need an internet service. What they do, they give you a modem, which that's at home, that's your equipment, and that can change. If you're a residential home, it's different from a company. In a company, you have bigger equipment. Okay, I have Spectrum in the US and Infineon from Mexico. Okay, okay, Spectrum. Okay, so you have Spectrum. Let's say you call Spectrum, you want and you live in whether you live in Mexico or in the US, what they gonna do? They're gonna give you some certain type of equipment at home. The equipment can be some of them they call them a modem. Long time ago they call them a modem. Nowadays they call them a switch. They call them a router. You know, and that router is connected to a network interface. The network interface is in your building, and this is the demarcation line between the company and your home, because the company cannot install uh, a demarcation in your room or your house. They do it outside in your building, let's say, and this is the demarcation line, they call it. And then from the demarcation line you connect to their network, and their network, they cannot take the line to a switch or router or a hub, they call them, in their network, and then they cannot take it to their center, to the central office, they call them, or a hub, and or it's a manhole on a street somewhere. They have equipment underneath. It's a room usually, and then they give you connection there, and then they can give you another connection which takes you to the internet, and they take you to the internet. The company will take you to the internet. So basically, when you connect from your home on the internet, you're going through that line, and you're going through your internet service provider line, and then the internet, the company will take you to the connect you to the internet through their internet routers. They call them internet routers. Those are equipment that are connected to the internet, but you connect to those equipment, and the company will take your signal to the internet. So I hope that made sense. So this is one of the internet serve one of the service we provide, and telecom company provides, internet service. But we have other services we provide. We have a lot of services. It depends on your need, on what kind of business. Sometimes, let's say you have a bank, and it has so many branches. I mean, the banks, sometimes you have to connect the branches together. So this is a different service now. They have their own network, their own cloud, but they still have to go through the telecom company. Yeah, there are a lot. You have to learn about these. If you want to get into telecom, it's good to have a certificate, or you read books. So there's not a lot of books about telecom in the stores, but you can find online maybe. But you still to get up and running, there's a lot of information. You need some kind of training, and or a certificate. Yep. Who else? Anybody else have a question, or about what we're talking about: Linux commands, other software, and software as a service. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. So, yeah, you can ask questions so I can, you know, this year. This year. I'm sorry for asking so much, but if you don't mind, telecom, what's something you deal with most? The connections or the interface or something I am unfamiliar with? Oh, okay. Yeah, you, that's okay if you ask questions. Yeah, I can answer some of the questions. I can't answer everything because these are proprietary information. I can't give you everything, but I can answer in general some questions. So yeah, that's okay if you ask questions. That's fine. Um, so you most of the stuff I deal with is analyzing what the customer needs and how to put the pieces together. And every day you deal with all of those, the interface, the connections, yeah, all of those. These are part of the service. So when you have a service you're trying to provide the customer, you have equipment, you have connections, you have transmission lines, you have interfaces, equipment, ports. Yeah, you deal with all of those. Yes. Yeah. What do you do? Are you in what industry are you in, G? Are you in any specific industry or are you a student? Let me know what's your background, so this way I know like kind of if what kind of information can help you. So if you let me know what industry are you in, maybe I can. So so I'm kind of while keeping the sh- the stream going. I'm kind of lay down because I'm getting tired. It's 12 midnight here in my area, so in my zone. I can lay down, but I can still see the comments and the questions, and I can answer if you want me to. Yeah, I am not in anything. I started pen, pen testing when I was young, and I got back into 3 days ago. So I am trying to pick knowledge of anything and everything, trying to start a bioengineer company one day. Okay, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's it, bioengineering. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know much about this. I am an engineer. My background is engineering, and so anybody else questions, comments about topics we're discussing? Technology, software. Yeah, let me. Anyone else have a question about Linux commands or Yes. Do you use Visual Studio often? Yes, Visual Studio Code. I mean, I think Visual Studio is a software that has so many software, and one of them is Visual Studio Code for code editing. So I use Visual Studio Code, yes, for code editing. Yeah, I use it often. Yeah, whenever I'm editing a web page or making a simple website, using even if I use a website builder, I use Visual Studio Code to test the code, how it looks like the HTML, CSS3, and some JavaScript, maybe, because it's a great software. It's for free and it's great. Everybody recommends it. And it's got so many options. You don't even have to have a website on the internet to test your code because it's got the extension Live Server. Talking about Visual Studio Code, the Live Server extension, whatever you type, it will show you what how the code will look like in a browser, as if you were on the internet, as if you have a website without having the website. So there are a lot of code editors, but my favorite Visual Studio Code is my favorite, and I like it. In the beginning, it was overwhelming, but once you get used to it, just use what you need. Don't just use everything. In it, learn what you need. So, all right. What code programs are you familiar in, and what does one would recommend for it? Okay, I am getting into web development, making websites, and I learned HTML5, CSS3, and I started recently with JavaScript. So if you want to get into web development, you need to learn HTML5, CSS3, and some JavaScript. JavaScript is difficult, but you don't have to be an expert in it. That's what they say. Those three, that's for the front end. And then you have to learn with time the back end. The back end, it can be Python, PHP. It can be in JavaScript using Node.js too. So, yeah, I'm familiar mostly with HTML5, CSS3. And but the thing is, you learn to code. You have to understand how it works, but don't worry about remembering the code. There is no way you can remember it. I mean, you cannot forget things, but you need to learn where to find help if you get stuck. Like now, I know HTML5, CSS3, but I don't know it that well because you forget things. If you're not using it day in, day out, you forget things sometimes. But I know where to find what I need when it comes to the code. Okay, what do I recommend? Well, it depends what you want to do. If you want to get into mobile development, making applications, then that's something else. You need different language like Swift, I think, for iPhones, and for iOS, and Android will get something different. Yeah, but if you want to it depends what you want to do, what you want to get into. If you want to get into web development, start with HTML5, CSS3, and JavaScript, the plain JavaScript, not the frameworks, and progress with those. Then jump to the back end, learn something. So myself, I'm still trying to nail the basics of JavaScript. That's what I am at that point. But let's say if you want to do scientific calculations, you have to learn Python. Do you use a chat GPT for help with coding? No, I don't use it, but they say it's very helpful. I don't use it, no. You know, chat GPT is good. If you know certain things and you want to expedite your process, use it. But if you want to depend on it, you're not going to learn it. First, learn things yourself, then use AI, ChatGPT to expedite your process and your workflow. But if you're starting with something new, I don't recommend using Chat. Up till now, I don't use it. I mean, I use it for certain things. Uh, I mean, you're using AI everywhere nowadays. Like if you go to Google now, the Gemini, that's AI. When you do a search and you start seeing this star rotating or something, Gemini, that's an artificial intelligence. That's like Chat GPT. So you can use it no matter what. I would not go look for how to write a code by using help from Chat GPT because I want to learn it myself first. If you get the code already done for you and you plug it in and it will show you how it looks on the screen, you don't learn anything. You gotta learn. You have to learn the basics. I mean, you're not gonna be coding from scratch every website or a code page. You can reuse existing codes, but before you reuse existing codes, you have to understand the code itself, why it's written in that way. And this is when your training comes into play. You train yourself by trying things online or studying, practicing. Like I said before, practice is the most important element. Yeah, yes, yeah. I mean, I know it's the trend now. Chat GPT, AI, it's the trend, and everybody is trying to incorporate it in their network, in their work. Every industry is using AI, you know, but it doesn't do you any good if you don't understand the basics of what the AI is helping you with. I can give you an example. Let's say you're learning how to let's say you are a student. You're learning how to write an article composition in English or any other language. And then if you go to Chat GPT and you type the topics, like Chat GPT, give me a topic about my travel to Europe and how I spent my vacation. It's gonna give you a nice article. It'll give you good information, but it doesn't mean you learned how to use the vocabulary and you learn the grammar yourself. You still have to learn the grammar, the English grammar, how to compose a sentence. You still have to know the vocabulary. You still have to put the pieces together, the word, the sentence, the grammar, the periods, the commas, the semicolon. If you don't know how to do these, even if Chat GPT give you a good article, it just doesn't make a lot of sense because you didn't do anything with it. You just like copy, it's like copy and paste without even knowing what it means, why it was written this way. But I mean, even though sometimes people will get a Chat GPT output and then they do editing, but still it's gonna look like it's gonna be similar to other people because most people nowadays they're doing the same thing. I would use Chat GPT and AI to expedite, to speed up the process. Let's say you're looking for, I can give you an example. You're looking for a translation of some vocabulary. What does this word means? Instead of going to a hard copy dictionary and looking in the pages, you just jump on Google and you type it in a Gemini, and Gemini will find it for you fast. This is when you use AI, it will help you expedite your process, save you time. But you still have to know the basics, just like coding HTML5, CSS3. I'm sure it can help you. It will give you a code, but it's not going to be accurate. From what I heard, some of the expert web developers they say it's not accurate. Don't use it. You don't know why sometimes it give you the wrong stuff. Excuse me. Anybody else? Questions, comments? Thank you guys for joining this live stream. I want to thank you so much. What technical skills are most important for you to have in telecom? Okay. So, important skills are that applies to everybody and that you use with every job and every day I use. You have to learn how to find information and use the information together and analyze what you want to do. You have to know how to analyze, and you have to know how to look for information and where to look for the information, because we're surrounded by so many documents, so many information, so many changes. One of the most important elements is to know where to go when you need something, when you need some kind of information. And another aspect, it's good to know, you have to know when you get a job you're doing and then by mistake somebody send it to you, you have to know that it's not your job, somebody else do it, should do it. So that you want to know. And you want to try to not to remember things, you want to try to understand why you're doing certain things. And then uh, from what I found out, that if you do something you don't like, uh, you're not gonna succeed in it. You have to like it. And I mean, you don't have to like it in the beginning. You can try to see if you like it or not, because nobody can tell if they to do something specific before they try it. Once they try it, then they know if they like it or not. Now you try a job. That's why people switch jobs sometimes. If you do this job and you don't like it, I mean, you have to be patient in the beginning. Don't wait couple days or couple months. You have to do the job more than usual, maybe a year or something. Then you'll find out in a year, do you like the job or not? If you don't like it, you're not able to get used to it, and you may look for another job. That's another thing. You have to like what you do, otherwise you don't succeed, and you'll be aggravated, and you don't like what you're doing. It's difficult. And time like it drags. If you're doing something you don't like and you get aggravated, there's a lot of stress in it. But if you like what you're doing, it's very important. Yeah, you basically, it's all about information. I mean, software, anybody can come and teach you a software, but using a certain software and you're not sure why you're using it, it's that's not good. It's not going to help you if you're using a software, like using the following steps without knowing why you're doing that. It's not gonna fly. It's not gonna work out well. You have to know how to follow direction when they give you direction, and yeah, and you have to know why you are doing this, what's the outcome, what you're trying to do, where you head into, and then it's very important to learn how to organize not the information, how to proceed with your work doing something. Do you go from step A to Z continuously, or do you do like two steps and stop, make sure everything is going fine? And so these are certain preference, personal preference that people do. So the technical skills, you have to know how to draw, you know, have you worked on? on any satellite communication. No, not no satellite. We work with it's all like wired, not not wireless or satellite, just the wired ones. The connections that have fiber optics, copper, and we work. We give like, let's say, cell site. We work with cellular companies, but the cellular we don't do the cell signal. We do the ground signal to get it to the to the cell site. Then the wireless company will take the signal somewhere else. Yep. Anybody else? Questions, comments? Yeah. What programming languages or technologies should someone interested in telecom engineering to be familiar with? Okay, what programming language? Okay, there is like computer programming. You mean there is no computer programming in telecom? I mean, there is, but myself, I use the software, the program to provide the service to make, let's say, products. We make products, but you don't use programming languages. It's built in the systems. It's built in the software. Yeah, no need for programming. Like programming, like let's say C, C++, Fortran, assembly. There is no programming in those. We don't use those in telecom. Yeah. What kind of education or certification do you recommend for someone in telecom engineering? Okay, myself, I didn't I didn't take any telecom certification, but I am an engineer, packaging industrial manufacturing engineer. This is my background from college, university. And then I got into telecom. They train me from scratch. But I have technical background, but I didn't have any experience in telecom. So they took me because I have a degree, an engineering degree. So they know I can learn, and they taught me. Then but certification can help to give you general ideas, but it doesn't help you a lot like working in a company, in a telecom company. You have to work in a telecom company to see exactly how they work, how they do. Because I've taken a lot of courses, they send us to a lot of training, and they're good companies, but nothing like when you're in a field doing the job. All right. Anybody else have a question? Anybody else have a question? What made you get into telecom and not manufacturing? Is that what you said? Yes, yeah. Uh, so I tried manufacturing. I didn't like it because you have to be in a factory. I mean, you'll be in an office inside the factory, and you have to deal with so many aspects of the factory, like production, um, machines, so many aspects. It was not well defined and specific. And you deal with other departments that have different background from you. Like they don't even have the same background, and it's noise. Manufacturing is very noisy. I mean, they give you those earpiece where you block the sound. The sound cancellation, but it's too much. Because if the factory is running, I mean, all the time, 24 hours. Some of them they run 24 hours. The sound of the equipment is very high. It bothers you. Yeah. Yeah, and then the way I got in telecom, I had a friend. He was in a telecom, and he had to get the job, the first job. That's Yep. All right, guys. Anybody else have a question? I start to get tired. I think I'm gonna wrap up the video if there's no questions. Let me see. I got tinnitus in both ears, so I feel not wanting to be around that. Okay, thank you for the info. I learned a lot that I wouldn't be able to learn. Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, you're welcome. Sure, you're welcome. Yes, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I guess there are a couple people on this live stream. If you have any questions, let me know before we wrap up this video because I've been going over an hour and I start to get tired now. It's 12:25, 12 after midnight. It's 25 after midnight. I have to get ready to sleep, for bed. So if you have any questions, let me know and make sure you subscribe so you'll be notified with the future videos and updates. All right. Anyone have a question about what we're talking about Linux commands for networking or other software and software as a service? Let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, we went over 8 Linux commands related to networking and IP addresses. So, anybody else questions, comments? Thank you for joining this live stream, everyone. If you're on this live stream, let me know if you have any question. We're talking about Linux commands and other software and software as a service. So, yeah, maybe I should make a tutorial about HTML5, CSS3 soon. I would watch it if you did. Okay, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, I should be making a video about Visual Studio Code, but this would be a screen cast, screen recording, not like this one. This one doesn't help much. This is all right. Anyone have a question or any comments or topics you want to discuss? Let me know. I'm trying to wrap up the video in a few minutes because I'm getting tired. It's getting late here. All right. Yeah, who's here? Say hi, say hi in a comment box and let me know where you're tuning in from. Are you in the US or overseas? I'm very interested to know. And let me know if you have any questions about Linux commands. This video is about Linux commands. Usually I talk about website making, but both are topics I cover on my channel and I like. So, I, oh, okay. I am in Mexico, but a citizen from the sure, yeah. Yeah, I heard that in Mexico there are a lot of citizens from the US. Yep. All right. Okay, guys. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you're on this channel, make sure you subscribe because I need your help to grow the channel. And I'll be making more videos in the future. Hopefully, next couple of days, maybe on a weekend, I'll make a video like this. But make sure you subscribe so you get a notification. All right. So, all right, guys. I'm getting very sleepy. I want to wrap up the video. Hopefully, I will see you next time. And thanks for whoever was on this video now. And thanks for joining. All right. So, questions? Any questions? All right. So, okay. All right. Okay. So, yeah, I guess no more questions coming in. So, I think I'm gonna stop the stream. All right. Anyone else have a question before I fall asleep because I'm very sleepy and very tired? Have a good night. Yeah, thanks. Same to you. Thank you. Thanks for joining. All right. Have a good night, everyone. See you hopefully the next couple of days, either tomorrow or the day after. Thank you.